back to another episode of the Mindfully Curious podcast. I want to start by acknowledging that I have been changing the cover of the podcast so much, and I personally do all of the work for this podcast normally, so that is why I like to take lots of creative liberties with it. And I would love to hear if you have any feedback on it, if you're vibing with something more than another. You will also notice that I changed the music almost on every episode, and that is because I love messing with GarageBand, which is the software that I'm using to record this and edit it. I love that I can make my own intro beats. So I enjoy that. I don't know if you enjoy it, but I sure would love to hear about it. If you love it, hate it, definitely let me know. You can DM me on Instagram, would probably be the easiest way to get a hold of me, or send in a voice message through the link in show notes. I would love to hear your voice, because if you don't know, I love to talk and I love to hear people. I love to listen. I love to create space for conversations to be had. And that is why I love to host this podcast. And I also love to host workshops and clubhouse rooms. And of course, in-person live events. And now that things seem to be opening up a little bit more, that might be more of a reality. But anywho, I really do love that I get to share so much with so many people through so many mediums. Thank you for being here. I honor you. I love you. And this would not be possible without you, because the guests, yeah, sure, they come here to indulge me in my request, but they really show up for you, the listener. So for today's episode, we are going to be speaking with our friend, Gio. Gio is a trainer, a person who is deeply devoted to physical health and physical activity, as well as mental and spiritual health and wellness, I would say. Today, Gio was so kind and generous. He shared so much of his story. He shared how he had a realization that kind of turned him on to, hey, this is why you should be aware of your body. This is one of the ways why and how you can be aware of your body. And then that got turned up to 11 for him. He had a very dangerous car accident. He survived by a little bit. And he gets to talk about his journey, recovering from that, how that has kind of set him on a road to discover what he finds most valuable in life, and how he devotes himself on a daily basis to all of the activities that keep him centered, healthy, and growing on a path that he has chosen for himself. I loved having this conversation with Gio. If anything during this podcast is helpful to you, or if you think, oh my goodness, I know who would really love to hear this story, it could really help them or inspire them, maybe even just like trigger them a little bit, please share it with them, share them with us. Screenshot this podcast and share it on social media. I don't know. Get creative. I would love to see Oh, do you hear her? Yes, she definitely is letting me know that the time is here. Time for me to wrap this intro up and get going. If you're looking for somebody to help you with your fitness journey, you're in the LA area, make sure you reach out to him. Even if you're not in the LA area, if you connect to anything during this conversation, please make sure you touch base with Gio, give him a shout out, send him some love. You know what to do. Once again, my name is Steph. That in the background is Lana Pig. And oh my goodness, I have a really funny story. Lana Pig, my dog who loves to make noise, was out in the yard barking at one of our neighbors that was walking in front of the house, and I didn't notice who it was, so I just yelled, "Piggy, get in the house! Piggy, 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 come here!" And when I was out there, the person that she was barking at turned out to be a police officer who is a neighbor of ours here in this neighborhood. And I felt so bad. I really hope that if anybody that knows my neighbor or if he's listening to this, I am so sorry, and I hope that you did not think I was calling you out. I really was a little bit embarrassed, and in our Mexican culture, this would be a trágame tierra kind of moment where I think, oh shit, I wish the earth would just open up and eat me, because it was a bit of a pickle. Okay, with that, that's all I got. Love you guys. Giovanni, welcome.
What's up, Steph?
I'm so happy to have you here to have this conversation, and I am so excited to see all the things I'm going to learn about you and from you.
I am happy to be here and do the same,
Yeah,
Give
awesome, man. So I was just telling you a little bit earlier, normally like to start the conversation by asking you, how did you get to be the magical being you are today?
Mm-hmm. Damn, that's a lot of thinking. Like, how did I get to this point in like career-wise or just life? Because that's a little wild.
I would say that for me, both are interwoven, because I feel like without all the things that I experienced throughout my life, whether they were just personal or career based, that's how I became the person that I am today, because I am an artist now. And that's not what I've been throughout my whole like 20 or whatever years I've been actually working. It only has been that I found my calling, I would say, probably like 4 years ago. And I feel just from our previous conversations, I would say that you are a person that knows what their true north is, aka found like their mission in life and are walking that path towards whatever that is.
Right. So, it's a good one. I guess the earliest memory for me, it's really shallow. I mean, early in life, everything was kind of I was very unaware of things, I had desires that I never looked into why I wanted that, or like the true desire behind what I thought I wanted, So the earliest memory that I can connect to like where I am and the whole awareness thing is when it was early middle school, I believe. When I was a little kid, I was like skinny fat. So I had like super slim arms and I had like a little beer belly, but there was no beer. And I was walking with my neighbor and we saw this girl, right? And we were like, maybe, I don't know, how old are kids when they're in middle school? We were young. She was probably like
13 to like 16 maybe.
Something, yeah, but she was definitely like way older. And we looked at her and then we looked at ourselves and we're like, damn, dude, like we got to change our appearance because, So like that same day I started pretty much just working out every day. Like I'd run on my treadmill, I'd do sit-ups, push-ups, the basic stuff, you know. And I guess it's like that primal, I guess, male female polarity that started it. And then as I got older, I kind of just I wanted attention, I guess. I didn't realize I wanted attention. I just knew that because I was kind of bullied when I was little, you know. I was like that little nerd. And so I wanted to be the jock, I guess. Um and yeah, I just started working out then. When I got to high school, I remember it's a little embarrassing, but I remember I was like, what sport do you think would make me the most popular? So I tried out for, at first I tried out for soccer. That was cool and stuff. That was actually my second sport growing up too. I was never really that great at it, but I could hang in sports. But I mean, even before like the whole being bullied in school and wanting to be a jock and all that, like I remember growing up, I would watch like sports and I'm like, I want to be able to do all that. But my mom, she was very like protective and like she wouldn't allow me to try out for things and stuff. So it wasn't until like high school that I became like a little rebel. I was like a straight A student growing up and like super well mannered and all this, no drugs, no nothing. I said I would never smoke weed, I would never drink this and that. And yeah, so I tried out, did a bunch of sports in high school, did football, and I have this thing where like I just, it could be ego, it could just be who knows, where I just want to be like the best at the thing, you know, I want to be that dude. So playing football, I wanted to go pro, right? Or so I thought. And I played high school football, and then it was my sophomore year that I first tried out, and I made the team. They said I could start with JV or I could try to like be with varsity because they didn't know I was a sophomore. But that same day was my little car accident. I don't know if I told you guys about that one.
No, I don't know anything about your car accident.
Yeah, I'll show you a picture later. But that was a very pivotal moment, I would say, in my life because it was a 1971 Camaro, so the seatbelts only went across the lap. There was no airbags, and it was my dad and me in the front, and my little brother in the back. So it was all the boys in the family in one car. And yeah, we were all hospitalized. My father was in a coma. I was in the hospital for 2 weeks. My little brother was lucky enough to like leave the hospital like within 2 days. He just had a fractured nose and wrist. But the thing is, he was conscious throughout the whole thing. So he saw like the damage. Like my dad, he didn't break anything in his face, but apparently like his nose was up on his forehead when they found him. Yeah. Shattered his arm, dislocated me. I broke my femur and my face was what they say pulverized. They said there was nothing to put back together in the hospital. I was sitting in like, because they had to do emergency surgery on my femur first because the femoral artery completely snapped. So they didn't want me to bleed out. They had to take us in a helicopter. So that was fun. And yeah, so I just laid in bed with a broken face for about 2 days or so before they actually tried to fix it. They had to take bone from my skull, cover it up to like try to put something together because there was nothing to put back together. And yeah, I mean that was kind of shitty. Looking back, I'm like maybe that was a sign that maybe football was not the route I should be going because they're like you shouldn't play football after this. But of course, as soon as I could, I popped the helmet back on and I was out on the field. But I could barely walk. So picture like super skinny kid now, you know, because I lost any muscle I had or any, I guess, athletic ability. I was jogging around the field with my helmet like tipping me over. I did one lap, and like to this day, that has been the hardest thing in my life I've ever done. Like, I don't know if my leg was fully recovered
And
yet.
man, you just went through this whole accident and you say this was the hardest part.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. I do remember they said I kept asking if I could play football. Like, that's all I asked during the accident. So part of me thinks that there is definitely I know there's a true love for football, but the true motive was probably like maybe some sort of approval, you know, from either like the world or my family or something. Because fun fact, my biological left me when I was like maybe 2 years or 1 year. I don't know. Anyway, moving forward, I kept pursuing the whole football thing. You know, I played for like 3 colleges, but every time there was some sort of drama that kept me off the field. You know, I was kicked out for 2 years. Like, shit just kept happening that kept, you know, delaying everything. I kept getting older and older.
And this was
But
after the accident.
yeah, this was like after high school. Once like, because I still went back, I still played, I still pursued it. But so with my pursuit of football, like I was getting all like this fitness knowledge and stuff. You know, I was working at gyms. I was becoming very aware of the body and how it works and what to do for certain things, this and that. So I got to a point where when I was kicked out of district, I was with this woman that wanted to open up her own gym. I was about, I think like 20, maybe 21. She was like 29, and she was from Seattle. So she wanted to open up a gym over there. And I couldn't play football at the time. So I said, fuck it. I moved with her over there. And I feel like I knew that was a bad idea, but I was kind of using it as an excuse to just, you know, leave home, try to be independent. So we moved together out there. Within like 3 months, we broke up or something like that. So I had no place to stay. I had no job. I had no friends. I had like, it was just me out there with this little like little beater car that I had bought to try to get around. And I, thinking back, I probably should have gone back home, you know, and kept pursuing football. But I ended up staying by myself. I lived out on my car for a little bit. Then I ended up getting a job at 24. So I was still living in my car in the parking lot, showering there and all this and that. Eventually things got better. Like I found a place to stay. I got another job, and that's where like my coaching career, I guess, officially started, because I started coaching at a place there. Eventually I was full time. I got a better place. Like things were better. But that was like after 2 years or something. And then one day the gym I was working for said they couldn't afford me anymore, but they would love it if I could still help, you know? And I'm like, dude, I'm doing better than I was, but I'm not doing great. So at that point, I was like, fuck it, maybe it's time to go back. And then I went back home, got a text from one of my coaches asking if I still wanted to play. I'm like 24 or something at the time. So I'm like a little too old for it, but I still had that itch, you know, because I never really got my years in. So I go back, I get there. Once I'm at the school, he leaves, and like this other drama starts in the school, and like I miss 1 year again. So I'm just getting older. The clock is ticking. Football's not working out. I'm still pursuing it. I land this job that I'm at right now. COVID happens, all this shit. So like football at this point is now just kind of like, all right, it's a hobby, you know? It's just for fun. And I actually recently just got offered the head coach position here. So I guess that's me trying to condense the story to where I'm at. And it always felt shallow. So I was like, at least now I can help people achieve their own goals or like be healthy and stuff like that, you know? So it's stressful, but there is definitely like a very rewarding feeling when you see people come in talking about like, man, I really want to do this, but I've never been able to do it because this and that and blah blah blah. And they're just really negative towards themselves. And you just keep telling them, just show up, I got you, just listen, this and that. And then within like 2-3 weeks, they're like telling me how like they feel so much better. They never knew they could do this, and like life is just brighter. And I'm like, it hasn't even been a month, dude. Like just so it's really it's a rewarding feeling, you know. If I can't achieve my dreams, I'll help others do it.
Oh my goodness. So, first of all, thank you so much for sharing, because I know I just went through like a lot of emotion, and I bet you did too. And I mean, I've had a lot of like crazy shit happen to me in my life as well. And I think that dealing with emotion is something that we're not taught how to do when we're young. And when life pushes all of these adversity, let's call it, at you, and you don't have that skill, fuck, the stuff gets so hard, and life gets so real so quick. And it's just, at least for me, it was so overwhelming at times that it's just like, wow, like I thought I was fucked up before, and now I'm even more fucked up. And before I felt like I was already gonna struggle to even make it a little bit out of this. Now, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
And so I think that we don't share enough of the depth of what we go through. And again, thank you for sharing, because that is how we normalize the struggle, because the
Yeah.
struggle is real and it's
Everyone's got
okay.
it. Yeah.
Yes. And at the end of the day, it's okay.
But every struggle, I feel like, you know, it's prepping you for the next one, you know, because they don't end. And you got to adjust your perspective and think back on all your victories, because it's very easy to get down on yourself when you're in the shit.
Yeah. And you don't have to do anything. You get the fucking honor and the pleasure to make those decisions for yourself. And I know people may be listening to me say that and they're like, oh, okay, yeah. So what am I not going to do this and not going to do that? And the thing is like, no, you can still do whatever you want. But just reframing something from I have to do this to I want to do this, it makes a whole world of difference. Words they have meaning. So do I have to pay my rent? No, I want to pay my rent. I fucking love having a house to live in.
See, there you go. It's completely different attitude.
So that's really cool that you're able to inspire your clients to stick through it. Because
Yeah.
I bet you just even saying like, yo, I stuck through having this terrible car accident, had a new face built, and then I still decided to go get it pounded because
Yep.
my passion for not knowing, like for finding out what's on the other side, was so great. And guess what? Yeah, it was scary and it was hard, but look at this motherfucker on the other side. Look at him. He's fucking healthier than like most of us out there. So damn, dude, that's dope.
Yeah. Crazy life. And everyone's got a crazy fucking story. It's just, if everyone shared it, I think a lot of people would know that it's the ups and downs they're normal, you know? Like you're gonna be in this shit for a while, and then you're gonna be living your best life the next, and then something else might happen. It's the human experience.
Yes, and the body is one of the slowest to react because our mind, in 1 second, like right now, I can tell, hello, everybody, please take a breath with me. And imagine a purple cow sitting in front of you. You motherfuckers out there are imagining this purple cow. Exactly. See what I'm saying? Words are so
Exactly.
important. And yes, we are creating our own thoughts. So might as well just be mindful of them and
Mhm.
redirect all that energy to somewhere we actually want to work on.
Exactly.
So for you with your fitness journey, how do you feel like now you found a balance of what works for you as far as your own personal health routine, whether that means physical, mental, spiritual? Do you feel like you have a pretty good balance going on?
Not so much balance, but throughout the journey, I've I have the awareness to kind of know, because the thing with my line of work is, well, at least in my specific position at the moment, my personal goals out the fucking window. I just, and I hate saying it because it sounds like an excuse, but my people are gonna come first, and like I wake up at 4 a.m. every day, and just to achieve the things I want physically, it's not right now, it's just not going to happen. So, but I have the awareness like of my own body to know like the bare minimum work I need to do certain things, or like how my body responds to certain foods or type of training, or how much sleep I can handle and stuff like that. So it's kind of, I kind of wing it a lot. I love structure, so it drives me nuts, but I'm, yeah, I have the awareness to kind of just go with the flow, you know? Just let the wave take me and know that I'll get where I want to get some way or the other.
And there is something really beautiful about that you're describing because I feel like that's where we start to. Sorry, y'all, my
I don't
dog is
mind
being a
that.
pain.
It's okay.
Hang on 1 second.
He's trying to say something.
Creativity, when
Hmm.
you're open and ready to, like you mentioned, go to the flow, like you couldn't have gotten to that spot without a certain level of mastery and knowing which foods are make you feel good and what exercises make you feel good and all of the things you just mentioned. And once you get to a certain level of mastery and like a lot of different skills, that's really when creativity is like, oh, it mega gets activated. You weave like a little like thread through all of those things, and you're like, oh, now guess what? I don't have to be like, eat this at that time, eat this at that time, like do these exercises. You become like just so much more free, so much
Hmm.
more productive because even though you're like, oh, it's not structure, but fuck structure, like you are living it like in the flow, like
Yeah.
in every moment you're just so aware and connected to your body and your mind, and I would even dare say your spirit, that you're like, okay, maybe I'm not feeling so good today, I'm going to do a little bit more rest, whatever. And I fucking love it because that's creativity at its best. Like creativity really allows everyone in our daily lives, in our daily practices, through those, that's how we become a real motherfucking artist. So thank you
Exactly.
for
Thank you.
being you and doing shit like you do it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for
That's a
coming to my rant.
no. That's a actually, now it's my turn to rant. A thing I like about my line of work, because when I was growing up, I was I still am a very like introverted child, and I would love drawing, just getting lost in creativity. I liked doing shit, and then as I got older, everything felt like very like there was, I don't know, you have to do this way and that, this and that, and if you want to do this, you have to go through that. And I do love structure, but I also fucking love making shit. It's like, oh, why does it have to be that way? Why can't we do this? And why do we need that? And so with my job, I can like there's an infinite amount of possibilities, you know. I kind of, so even when I like make plans and stuff, like I know they're gonna change, because like if I have a new person, I don't know how well they can move. I don't know if they can do this. I don't know this or that. So you always have to, well, you have to have the knowledge of how the body moves, obviously, and how to trigger the same reactions for certain things. But yeah, that's what makes the job fun, always having to adjust to whatever's in front of you. And it's a very creative thing,
Hell
despite like all the
yeah.
structure that's needed.
Yes, dude, because we think that boundaries are killers to creativity, and the thing is, like,
Mm.
there's difference between being too rigid and boundaries. Like, everything in order to have balance needs boundaries. It's just that awareness. And just like children, creativity loves boundaries, and the more you master those boundaries, the more you're free to play in it, because you're like, no, I'm coming to this spot where I know what happens there, and I just have no interest in that because I'm having so much fun exploring over here.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome too, because one of the things that I got from your story was that, yeah, you love sport, but it just sounds to me like creativity is really playful. So to me, it sounds like you love like sport because of the playfulness, because we don't really get in life a chance to just be playful with each other, you know,
Mm-hmm.
even with our words. Sometimes I love, like, I'm Mexican, and I feel like part of Mexican culture is like giving shit. It's like just like ha ha ha. It's like a sign of love,
Yeah.
you know. It's like so embedded into the way we talk to each other, and I'm okay with it. You
And it builds
know,
thick skin.
it builds what?
Thick skin.
Yes, it can get a little bit on the side where it's like, all right, okay, this is
Dramatic.
becoming a bad thing. Yes, absolutely. Goddamn fucking drama. But it can be fun, you know. And
Yeah.
I feel like it's just that whole thing where, like, when you see people like playing basketball in the NBA, they're all like, yeah, just pushing each other and like tapping each other in the butt and whatever, and that's just like so beautiful. That's like the beautiful part about sport. Like, you're able to build those relationships where it's like not weird,
Yeah.
because like you just connect to people on like a completely different level.
Yes, you do.
So how do you build that playfulness in with your clients? And I know we are running out of time here, but I do wonder how you do that.
How do I build playfulness? That's, I mean, that depends on the person, really, you know? Because when you first have a new athlete, I like to call them athletes, client sounds too like, I don't know. I
Yo,
care
it's
about.
like Nike defines an athlete as anyone with a human body.
There you go. It's technically true, yeah.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
you just have to kind of, you know, feel their vibe out at first, because sometimes you do have to be very professional at first, and you know, keep it civil and normal. But kind of as the workout goes on, they're like breathing a little more and kind of like getting into their body and the movement. You just have to assess how they're feeling just by looking at them, you know, facial expressions and stuff. And then, you know, just through that, you kind of start showing more of like your own personality and see how they react to that. And then next thing you know, you guys are just like laughing it out and having to be like, hey, focus, we got work to do. So it just makes it more a very enjoyable experience, because some people, they think of exercise and they think like just hurting and like, I don't want to do this. And but you gotta squeeze those endorphins out and, you know, let them be themselves and know that you could still have fun while you're in pain.
That's so important, and something we don't really think about is, oh, we need to have a physical like health practice because it's important for aging. You know, it's like your car, you give it goddamn maintenance, like you wash it, you clean it, you do all this stuff. Why would you not do that for your body? And I think,
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, you're doing the Lord's work, inspiring people to service their machines.
It's the soul vehicle.
Let's wrap it up with So let us know if somebody's interested in working with you. You're in the LA area. Where can people find you?
Yeah, we're on, damn, where is it? It's down Sunset. So the place is called, it's two gyms in one. It's called the Boxing Prescription and the Fitness Prescription. So if they look up either of those, we should pop up. And yeah, feel free to come check it out. We do a bunch of fun shit. The community's growing again with with some of the restrictions getting lifted. So it's slowly starting to feel like a normal gym again.
Awesome.
And even if they don't want to come check it out, just move, go outside, go for a walk. Because like you said, you got to take care of your body and you only get one. So,
yeah, one of my PT says when it comes to your joints, movement is a lube. So
yeah. Yeah.
I will also make sure to put down all of your social media things on the show notes. So if anybody's interested in reaching out to you, do you do any trainings like over Zoom or anything like that?
I prefer like in-person stuff, but
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I'm always adapting to whatever is necessary. So if
I'm
people are
always
comfortable.
growing.
Yeah, exactly. Ascending, growing, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Well, Gio, thank you so much for
Yeah.
your time and that amazing conversation. I hope you have a beautiful day. And I love you, brother.
I love you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you making the time for me.